Hello, and welcome back to JVSCP. We got a bit of a new setup here. Got some good swag on, got my ID credentials, name tag, bit of a new angle here, and I'm very excited for today's episode because we are going to be looking into an entry that for once I have read beforehand. I read this the other day and I thought that I just kind of had to cover it on the channel because I thought it was so good, but we can talk more about that when we're done with it. For now, let's begin. SCP-5930 by Nils Severin from the SCP Wiki. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. 300 hectares of land surrounding the defunct Site-530 have been cordoned off under the guise of a natural preservation area. In the event of any civilian casualties, resolve these cases and redirect any search parties to areas outside of the cordoned zone. Ante Vara is receiving therapeutic care in Foundation custody and no further procedures are necessary. Site-530, approximately 2 months before cease of operation. Description: SCP-5930 is a meteorological phenomenon resembling a blizzard, which manifests spontaneously and exhibits aggressive behavior towards humans and other living organisms. The anomaly produces extreme wind speeds exceeding 75 km an hour, intense precipitation, and rapidly fluctuating atmospheric conditions. Visibility within 5930 is often reduced to near zero, while temperatures plummet to lethal levels within moments of exposure. These conditions destabilize the local ecosystem, freezing vegetation and displacing wildlife. Though its origin remains unknown, 5930 is capable of forming without observable atmospheric precursors, making its appearance unpredictable and highly dangerous. Discovery: the first recorded manifestation of 5930 occurred near the now-defunct Site-530, located in the remote alpine tundra of Yokogaska, Sweden. Site-530 was a small, isolated research station designed for the study of the region's cultural traditions and biology. The station operated with minimal personnel consisting of one cultural anthropologist, Dr. Ella Sandell, and 2 junior researchers. Under ordinary circumstances, the team maintained contact with a centralized Foundation facility through routine radio transmissions, providing daily updates. Satellite communication was used sparingly, reserved for transmitting detailed reports and high-resolution imagery. The research proposal for the project is still available.
Research proposal. Names of applicants.
Dr. Ella Sandell, Cultural Anthropology. Anton Brandelius, Junior Researcher in Ecology. Armand Leroy, Junior Researcher in History.
Title of research:
Cultural Echoes in Frozen Landscapes, investigating Sami folklore, environment and adaptation in northern Sweden.
Give a justification for your research proposal.
To preface this research proposal, I would like to introduce the story of a young Sami boy often told to children in the north of Scandinavia. There was once a boy named Ailu, who lived with his family on the fringe of a frozen tundra. By his side, he also had 3 animal friends he had tamed. For company, he had a reindeer calf named Vaibme, whose soft eyes followed him everywhere. To keep warm at night, he had an Arctic fox named Guovsa, who often snuck into his bedroll for warmth. For entertainment, he had a raven named Aram, who perched on his shoulder and cawed stories into his ear. One starry winter night, he was encouraged by his animal friends to venture into the forest. Despite his elders' warnings, he snuck out with his companions close behind him. However, predictably, this had been a mistake. Vaibme was the first to stray. He stopped, ears twitching, staring into the endless dark. The reindeer let out a bray and collapsed where he stood, frost creeping over his body like a living thing. Ailu tried to wake him, but Vaibme was gone, his wide, trusting eyes now frozen open. Guovza disappeared next. The fox darted ahead into the blackness, barking sharply as if chasing something only it could see. When Ailu called for him, his voice echoed unanswered. Hours later, Ailu found a trail of paw prints leading to a tree whose roots were buried in ice. Dangling from its lowest branch was Guavza's pelt, pristine and untouched, but the rest of him was nowhere to be found. Aram, ever faithful, stayed with Ailu until the very end. But as Ailu wandered the forest for hours, weeping loudly, the raven grew restless. It circled above Ailu, its cries turning to shrieks of pain before it plummeted to the ground, its wings twisted and as though wrenched by invisible hands. Alone now, Ailu pressed forward, his breath freezing in the air. The villagers said that when they found him days later, his body was stiff and frozen, but his eyes were moving. The boy would, however, resume his life in this frozen stance and never be the same. The lesson of the tale is that the consequences of curiosity can be grave. Modern folk science usually states that the purpose of this and other stories have been to intimidate children and discourage them from taking risks in a potentially dangerous environment. However, stories of hauntings and terror have also been derived from the need to allegorize the Sami population's experience with oppression. In this particular story, a deeper reading reveals layers of cultural allegory. The reindeer's death may symbolize the Sami's loss of their primary livelihood in the wake of industrial encroachment, the flayed fox pelt the erosion of cultural expression, and the raven's fall the suppression of Sami language and oral traditions. The Sami population transitioned away from animism in the 19th century, yet their oral traditions and myths endure, often reflecting the cultural resilience of a people facing systemic oppression. These narratives continue to permeate Sami communities, preserving cultural heritage even in the face of forced relocations and the suppression of traditional practices. By contextualizing Sami folklore, this project aims to explore the intersections with anomalous environmental impacts, potential hazards, and historical anomalies. Understanding the cultural significance of such tales may provide insights into the relationship between local traditions and anomalous phenomena. In this
Extraneous contents removed for brevity.
In October 2024, the routine operations of Site-530 were abruptly disrupted when Dr. Sandell initiated an emergency transmission. The details of the message remain partially obscured, but its urgency prompted the immediate mobilization of an evacuation team. Subsequent documentation and recordings from this period are appended below.
Recording of radio communication, October 29th. 2024. Begin recording.
Brief stuttering noise.
This is Ella Sandell, the 3rd of October. We've had a situation.
Static noise in between transmissions. Dr. Sandell resumes in a strained and hasty manner.
Repeat, this is Ella Sandell. We've had a situation.
This is Captain Travis Javier. Are you saying you've had a situation? Over.
Yes. Armand has left us and is missing. 2 days now, over.
2 minutes of static noise.
Is this an emergency, Doctor? Over.
Yes, we request heli evac. We have been searching, but we aren't coming very far in the blizzard, over.
18 minutes of static noise.
Are you still there, over?
Stand by. Over.
33 minutes of static noise.
Our pilots say that there's no possibility right now. Dangerous gusts, they say. I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to sit tight until the storm passes. Please inform if you have any shortages and give data in report. Over.
Supply for 3 weeks. Will inform in report. Out.
Understood. It's supply for 3 weeks. Out.
End recording. Recording of radio communication, October 30th, 2024. Begin recording.
Anton is gone. We've had a... searching for Armand. Anton slipped through the ice. Weather is...
Repeat that. Are you saying Anton slipped through the ice and you have denied my previous orders? Over.
Static noise for 2 minutes.
Dr. Sandell, are you saying you have moved outside the facility and have 2 people missing? Over.
Static noise for 5 minutes.
Dr. Sandell, come in. Dr. Sandell, come in.
End recording.
Addendum 5930-2. Shortly after this failed radio transmission, Dr. Sandell sent data via satellite.
Open file.
An image attached to the original file. The image shows the apparent corpse of junior researcher Armand on a sheet of ice. The legs are contorted in an unnatural position, and the body is otherwise swollen and blue. Report. I intend to leave the facility on my own if the Foundation cannot provide me with evacuation. After the disappearance of Armand in a blizzard, we suspected he had gotten lost in the storm. Me and Anton were trapped inside the barracks. As the weather conditions soon improved, we decided to get outside. We surveyed the surrounding areas and found him down the mountain on a frozen lake, severely frostbitten. We saw from his injuries that he must have slipped from a cliff or a higher place. His legs had several fractures. We saw signs that he had crawled onto the ice. Why he would go further out, we didn't know. We pulled his body towards land when it got mistier, and we heard the ice starting to crack. I have never felt such pain as then when the ice finally collapsed. I caught a sheet of ice with my arms and managed to keep my upper body above water and get up. I didn't see Anton in the mist, but I'm certain he went through completely. Temperatures this low can cause paralysis, so I can imagine he didn't suffer long. I got to warmth as quickly as possible to wake my numb legs. I'm afraid I broke something in the process. My legs still haven't recovered. After that, I couldn't even handle the radio. I feel recovered enough to attempt evacuation tomorrow before the whole barrack goes. I can barely get the door up. My plan is to drive toward Yokogaska. Any personnel can meet up with me there. Dr. Sandell.
Closed file.
Numerous attempts were made to contact Dr. Sandell, but none succeeded. According to data transmitted this same day by a GPS tracker, Sandell's service vehicle moved east on a main road at irregular speeds until it finally moved off-road and stopped. Since weather was mixed with snow and rain and no winter service vehicles operate in the area, Sandell might have had considerable difficulty driving the car and subsequently driven off the road. Addendum 5930-3. At this time, there was not enough evidence that activity was anomalous. Therefore, a standard evacuation unit was ordered to the area. This unit was led by 54-year-old Ante Vara, who was familiar with the area and had extensive experience with mountain rescue. Other members of the team were cardiologist Dr. Ludmila Persson and Corporal Eva Kolgarov. Vara transmitted the evacuation effort via audio. These recordings are the full-length one-way feeds received by command at Site 80. Because of the harsh conditions within SCP-5930, some parts of the audio are noticeably obscured.
Recording of Antivara's microphone, November 1st, 2024. Begin log.
The doors of the operational vehicle are shut. Whining sounds of the wind almost drown out the shouts of Vara and Persson.
Points us south of the bend here.
Trees!
We need shovels.
A latch, presumably the storage latch on the vehicle, opens. Sounds of rope, metal, and other utilities can be heard.
We're moving into the trees. Snowdrifts cover the road. Pretty difficult terrain.
The unit moves across the road with difficulty.
Is there anyone inside?
Too much ice. Give me a shovel.
Kolgorov can be heard struggling, followed by a series of loud smashes.
Okay. We found the car. No sign of Dr. Sandell. There's a bend just where we are.
She must have drifted.
She must have drifted off here. These roads are horrible. Speeds above 30 don't make this bend. And when you're in a rush... Let's get to the barracks.
The unit enters the vehicle again. Keys are jangled and the ignition sounds. The vehicle starts driving.
Can we get through? Ante?
What do you think?
I just thought these snowdrifts, it looks pretty heavy.
We have snow chains. Just gotta move slower. Yes, we'll get through it. Oh shit.
There's a high-pitched screech as the vehicle seems to stop abruptly.
Jesus Christ.
Hold on, it's alright. We're not off.
Can you get it up?
Yes, stop yelling. It's a bit steep, but we got a grip. Let me just rev up.
Footnote. At this point, the vehicle slid backwards in a steep climb. Ante Vara likely braked before going off-road. A loud revving sound is heard. When Vara releases the brakes, there is another screech.
There you go. Calm down already.
Did they have to make this road so damn narrow?
It's an association who pays for them. They're long, heavily burdened by, the mine's dump trucks. Not cheap.
At least they pay tax.
Sure, naturally. Meanwhile, we have 90 kilometers between cities up here. They haven't even compensated a Yokogaska for excavating in the middle of reindeer migration patterns. Roads are narrow.
Footnote 2. Yokogaska is the administrative region and association who has the right to carry out reindeer husbandry.
Aren't the employees at the mine members of Yokogaska?
Just because their own livelihood is threatened.
Well, it's all complicated.
Well, Ludmila, it really isn't. When a people that...
Hold up. There.
The throttling stops abruptly. There's a moment of silence in the car.
They'll move. Don't worry.
The ignition sounds.
Get out of the way. There are 3, maybe 4 reindeer in the way. They have big eyes and aren't moving a muscle.
Do they actually look like that?
When the herd is moved further down the mountains once a year, there are always weak ones who are left behind. Typically, there's not much food. I can't imagine this weather helps them. Now, move, please.
The sound of an engine revving and wipers scraping the windshield can be heard.
Ah, thank you.
Why don't they keep them fenced up?
That's not how you heard them, Ludmila.
The vehicle stops.
Okay, I can't get us closer than this. That's too steep for our vehicle. We'll get the equipment and make it through the mist together. The barracks are 900 meters north, 345 degrees.
The wind is whining and you can barely hear the voices of the other unit members.
Jesus, that's cold.
Where did you serve? Protect your noses. The wind bites bad. Make sure your carabiners are all good.
Can't see. I mean, I can't see anything.
All normal then. Let's go. Ah yes. Here are some grip. Make sure to drop this ledge. There's firm footing here.
The microphone buzzes.
Be careful.
Other than Vara's breath, there is considerable difficulty reading anything from the microphone.
Be sure. Just 300 meters.
The shouting from team members ceases and heavy panting is heard from Vara.
Steep hill, mountainous terrain. Can't see much. Eva! Ludmila! Are you here? Dr. Sandell, is that you? Oh,
Vara stops and breathes slowly. There is the sound of a collapse in the background. Vara starts moving through the storm again. Kolgorov is heard shouting.
Get him out! Get him out!
what's going on?
No, 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 no.
Stop, Corporal, stop!
Is he freezing? Is he stuck?
Wait, Eva, you're confused. Let him go.
But he was... I felt him.
Let him go, you're confused.
What's going
He's gone now. It's warmer where he is now. Move up.
Buzzing noises and wind disturbing the microphone.
We're moving towards the barracks. I believe we found Anton. He went too deep in snow. Looks asphyxiated to me. We can't dig him out. We're leaving him here.
There are sounds of heavy labor, the sound of a door, and the sound of the wind becoming subdued. Sobbing is heard in the background.
Sandell is not here. We'll wind down for a minute. We'll end transmission here and contact by radio.
End log.
Addendum 5930-4. After the live transmission, the unit was contacted through the radio supplied at Site 530.
Recording of radio communication. 1st of November, 2024. Begin recording.
This is Foundation Command. Radio check. Can you read me? Radio check.
It's working.
We have received your audio. Please confirm, is Dr. Sandell MIA and Junior Researcher Brandelius deceased? Over.
Confirm. Anton was deep in the snow, paralyzed. We didn't see much out there. Dr. Persson is taking care of Eva right now. Our door has been jammed by snowdrifts and the pipes don't seem to be working.
Brandelius deceased. Do you have running water and food? Over.
A good pantry, but no running water.
Understood. We're going to send one of our helis to your position in order to ensure your return. Please sit tight. Over and out.
Understood. Out.
End recording.
A helicopter was sent to the position and overlooked the facility while Captain Javier resumed communications with Ante Vara.
Recording of radio communication. November 1st, 2024. Begin recording.
Okay, we have a view of the perimeter. You look pretty badly snowed in. This south side of the mountain looks like a big duvet. Over.
Sounds beautiful, officer. We opened the window but had to shut it again because of the damp.
4 minutes of static noise.
We're trying not a lot of suitable places to land. Over.
Not a lot of suitable places to live here. We'll suffocate.
We have another blizzard coming. Over.
Over to you. I've had enough.
We're going back. Minimal visibility. Over and out.
Wait. Eva is getting pretty bad. She's got something, a stomach virus or something. Ludmilla.
Kolgorov is sick. Over.
She's almost blind, Ante. Yes, when we came back from the... She ate some snow. We all did. She didn't boil her snow. She'll be fine in a while.
Understood. We're doing whatever we can to be there as quickly as possible. Over now.
What's wrong with you?
End recording.
As storms were hard to navigate in, there were concerns over the crew's safety, and an assessment was made to wait until weather conditions improved. However, none of the forecasted improvements happened. Instead, there were measurements of extremely strong gusts in the mountains for days onward. Communications were maintained with Ante Vara, but these turned rare after several technical difficulties.
Recording of radio communication. November 3rd, 2024. Begin recording.
Captain, are you... Will you come for me? Us.
We are unable to bring teams of evacuation at this moment. We will wait until the blizzard is gone. How is the condition of Kolgorov? Over.
We... No blizzard.
How is the condition of Kolgorov? Over.
We have a fire, but we're not okay. Ante, what are you doing? She's not good. She's got a fever. No sign of... Get off the microphone, Ludmilla. We just need to get out of here. Can you stop the aggression?
We will do what we can. At this moment, I can't endanger the safety of my men. We will get you out. Over and out.
End recording.
Corporal Eva Kolgorov is believed to have died the night after this radio call. It is considered very rare for someone to contract a disease or be infected by the consumption of snow. However, it is not deemed impossible either. There were also earlier indications that Kolgorov had symptoms of delirium and altitude sickness, which can happen at heights of 1,500 meters. At this point, Site 530 was fully submerged and signals were obstructed. The final radio calls sent from the main barrack were consequently brief and compromised in quality.
Recording of radio communication, November 6th, 2024. Begin recording.
Radio check. This is Ludmilla talking.
This is Captain Javier. I hear you. Over.
No, you really do much. I just wanted to give some info on. Ante has gotten more certainly suspect cabin fever. About these animals, like empathic first.
Dr. Person, come in. Dr. Person, come in. You're not coming in clear. We're planning to send a mission in 24 hours. Over.
Mission? It's already too late.
Static noise continues for 2 minutes.
Dr. Person? Come in, Dr. Person.
Static noises continue for another 2 minutes.
Are you not there, Dr. Person? Sorry? Who is this? Who is this?
End recording.
The unknown voice picked up at the end of the recording was not similar to the voices of either of the evacuation team. During the next hours, another evacuation was prepared as gusts were declining in strength. However, at 1 a.m., a last radio transmission could be heard from Site 530.
Recording of radio communication, November 7th, 2024. Begin recording.
Alive. Ludmilla. Deceased. Getting out of here. Watch
Radio communication ceases.
End recording.
Addendum 5935. As the last radio transmission ended, Foundation Command Center picked up a new live transmission from Vara's microphone.
Recording of Antivara's microphone, November 5th, 2024. Begin log.
A live transmission begins. Vara, audibly panting, adjusts the microphone. Something can be heard dragging on the ground.
There you go.
Sounds of wind and distant gnawing can be heard. Occasional clicking and dark grunting noises similar to the noises of reindeer.
Okay.
Vara is heard going down the mountain, sliding occasionally.
Oh, okay. Okay. Heading back to the vehicle. Whatever it is.
Grunting and roaring noises from reindeer are heard in the background. Vara makes noises as he hurries down.
Come on now. Where is that? Where is it?
Transmission is quieter, with the footsteps from Vara more audible.
There. Okay.
The sound of a door shutting and an ignition. The engine revs up.
Okay. It's really hard to concentrate. I have to get through these snow drifts and this ice.
The vehicle makes a low-frequency humming sound. Vara turns on the windscreen wipers. He sighs and stutters when he speaks.
This is gonna take a while. Oh, thing is swerving. Okay, I have control.
The vehicle can be heard driving through snow and branches before a loud metallic sound is heard. Vara screams.
End log.
A helicopter was dispatched to Vara's location. Following the main road, Vara was soon found walking in the middle of the road in a shaken state. He was subsequently transported into Foundation custody at Site 80. Vara suffered from hypothermia and malnutrition, despite having been supplied with nutrients for several days. He had also obtained bruise marks over parts of his body and a twisted ankle. Otherwise, Vara suffered a mental breakdown as he was taken care of by physicians at Site 80. Mental symptoms included hallucinations, amnesia, and paranoia. After 2 weeks of therapeutic care, Vara had recovered and was susceptible to questioning.
Interview log, November 20th, 2024. Interviewer, Captain Javier. Interviewee, Vara. Begin log.
Okay. See, I hope you're doing well, but I really want to know what happened to Dr. Ludmila Persson. Why didn't both of you get out? We received a radio transmission from her where she sounded alarmed about your condition. And then you emerged without her.
Vara fiddles his fingers for a while until finally answering.
By the end, she just started calling them things. Those things out there aren't real. I tried to tell her that they weren't just things, and that they were starving, just like us. What did she mean? What things? You know, the reindeer. There are several herds in the area of 100 to 300 reindeer. They were waiting for us. You know, we saw them on the way there. They were hungry. Whenever there was any talk on how we handle our jobs or herds, she blamed those poor animals. Still, now I see why. We were all changed by that storm.
Vara supports his face with his right hand, shutting his eyes as he speaks.
And that thought about the reindeer, it really got to me. I am from a herding family for many hundreds of years. We have fought to have whatever little rights we have. We've been listening to the recordings. Some things don't really make sense. Nothing made sense. I'm sorry? Nothing made any sense. We were roped up together as we walked up the slope, but I felt suffocated. By the wind, by my unit, by everything. Eva couldn't see. It's not uncommon. I believe she felt what we call snow blindness. That's not really what I meant. You see, in 2 of the recordings, there's an unknown voice. Let me show you.
Captain Javier plays the sound of the voice. Vara shivers.
Stop it. I don't want to hear that voice again. I have no idea what it is. It's not you, is it? I don't want to talk about it. Let's leave it for now. Let's get back to when you found Anton Brandelius. At approximately 10:05, you somehow lose contact with the others and suddenly stop. How did this happen? I unhooked the carabiners.
unhooked the carabiners. Why? I don't know. I could barely see, hear, or think. I felt them too close to me, and that I needed to get away from them. You found something there, didn't you? Was it Dr. Sandell? Well, I thought so, first. But then I looked a little closer, and it wasn't. There was a body stuck in the snowdrifts. His arms were sticking upwards, keeping him above the surface. He seemed peacefully asleep. But then he opened his eyes. He directed his blue face towards me, but he had lost his speaking ability. He was actually sinking, slowly, deeper and deeper. You didn't help him? There was no food around. I thought about the animals. I guess I thought it would be good for the herd, leaving him there. I left him, sinking into the rift. And later, I returned, only to find Eva grabbing onto his hand, trying to pull him up. She had somehow found him. At this point, his head was below the surface. And he was gone, as you put it in the recording.
There's a moment of silence.
Ante? No. He wasn't, no. I told her to let him go, but he wasn't really gone yet. His eyes, they were still there.
Vara starts sobbing.
Kolgorov must have noticed. Snow blindness. She couldn't see a thing, and his body was practically dead already. You admit that you were involved in these two people's deaths then? And Eva?
Vara takes a minute to recover from sobbing.
No. That part is all true. She had some kind of virus or infection. I don't know what, but she got it from eating snow. We needed something to drink. She didn't boil it, even though I told her to. I think she was afraid of me, actually. By this point, I had gotten irritated, locked up in that barrack. There weren't even antibiotics in the first aid kit, and you were no help. How did it go from there, you being safely locked up in a barrack, to the death of Dr. Ludmilla Persson? Safely locked up? There was nothing safe about that barrack. In a matter of hours, we were sealed shut inside with no light. Power worked for a few hours until it didn't. We were shut in a small room with no way to escape and limited communication. Half of the time we tried to reach you, something was wrong with the antenna. We were lucky there was food. And then there was the cold. The cold. We wrapped ourselves up in woolen blankets, but could only stay still for a while before our bodies would start reacting again. You see?
Vara gestures with his frostbitten hands.
That wasn't just from the walk. And then Ludmilla started pestering me. I told her we had the same fate as the herd outside. The herd outside? I could sense them. I knew they were there, waiting for us. I suggested we kill ourselves and let them have us, but no. Eventually, we stopped talking altogether. The silence pressed down on us. But I was right. They were waiting for us outside. In fact, they made me stressed. I didn't want the herd to follow me down the slope, and I went down. I felt their eyes in the back of my neck. And their hunger.
Vara holds on to the edge of the table.
Their eyes were unnaturally big, like big black torrents. But then I managed to drive a few kilometers before, well, you know the rest.
Vara sighs. A moment of silence passes. Captain Javier observes him for a minute.
Okay, Ante. Are you ready to talk about Ludmilla and the voice? We heard it when you drove as well.
Vara looks up at Captain Javier with a strained expression.
Or shall we call this off for another time? Ever since I stepped on that mountain, I felt the urge to get rid of them all. They were just in the way of this rescue. And now, there was no point to it. I understood that I might, just might, if the weather got better, be able to help those animals outside. Their eyes. I couldn't say no to them. Besides, they scared me as well. So, when she was sleeping, I used whatever energy I had left on her. I thought she was tired of all this, but no. She resisted. She struggled. Finally, I made it. At this point, I could dig myself out. And you started recording. There's a clear sound to this, let me show you. We don't need to do that.
Captain Javier plays part of the recording from his phone. He increases the volume so Vara can hear the sounds of the reindeer as well as a moaning sound. It continues for a few seconds before Vara starts moving down the slope.
When did you realize she wasn't dead? You don't get it.
Vara turns in his chair. He lays his elbows on the table and gestures towards Captain Javier.
They weren't just animals. They knew. Their hunger, it wasn't normal. It was like they were waiting for us, watching. Even now, I can feel their eyes, empty, endless, pulling at me. I thought maybe if I gave them something, someone, they'd let me go. And they did. They were so gentle at first, so gentle it felt worse than if they'd been vicious. But when they really started, I couldn't look. I couldn't stop hearing it.
Vara shivers. He starts crying and ignores other questions.
I don't know what that voice is, but it isn't me. It can't be. I'm sorry, Ante, but this sounds like a lot of prevarication. Don't you remember why we were there? Why we were there in the first place? I guess Dr. Ella Sandell was less lucky than me. Have you found what happened to her yet? And have you found out what really happened to her co-workers?
Vara wipes off the droplets from his forehead.
What if this happened to Ailu's friends? Sorry? Nothing. Never mind. It's just a story.
And that was SCP-5930. A lot of voice acting efforts from me. I want to start by apologizing to Veti and any other Finnish people for the cartoonishly Finnish accent I was doing. I know I didn't nail it throughout. Hope I didn't offend anyone. I did my best. But yeah, Jesus, what a good fucking story that is. As you may know, and as I mentioned in the beginning, I usually go into these blind, but I also like reading SCP since the existence of this channel. So I read this the other day, and I just knew that I had to read it. I think it's very, very good. It manages something that I think is kind of uncommon, which is, there are these entries that are very short that give you the minimal amount of information that you want, right? To still keep the mystery, it doesn't over-explain shit. And this one is that, while also being long, but still without feeling unsatisfying. You know what I'm saying? It gives you just enough to feel like you get it, but there's still enough of a mystery in there. I don't know. This is to me, this is top class. This is the clearest gold star reading on this channel, almost, I want to say. This is really fucking good. And interestingly, I think this was released. This is a pretty new one, unless I'm mistaken. And the author doesn't even have you can't click his profile to see more that he's written. Maybe he's only written this one. That would be crazy if he comes in, drops this one, and then it's just pieces out. But let's see here. Where do you see how old it is? Oh yeah. Oh, this is like really new. This is from the 19th of January, 2025. Well, good fucking job, Nils Severin. This was great. I'm gonna look into a little bit more if this person has written anything else. Let me know what you thought about this down in the comments. And that's a little bit of engagement baiting, but it's also like, I'm genuinely very curious if it's just me or if this is as fucking good as I think it is. I mean, you just heard like my rendition of it, so maybe you're like, it was mid. But in that case, if you didn't like it, I recommend go read it, even if you've already, you already know what happens. But I think this is really good, very spooky, love it. There's a lot to be said about Sami culture and how this ties into that and the folklore. I'll leave that to someone way more knowledgeable than me. I know I'm just kind of repeating myself now, but goddamn, this is a good one. I really like this one. Anyway, thank you so much for watching JVSCP this week. What do you think of the new little setup we got going here? It's not perfect. Eventually, I'm hoping to like find a more dedicated space for this, but for now, this is what we got. Looks a little bit better. We don't have the fake green screen background blur. I suited up with some official stuff. Try to give at least a little bit of production value to the footage so that it's not all in Vetis. Amazing editing. Extra huge thank you goes out to our YouTube members and patrons. They should be on screen right now. And if you liked this reading, we have a bunch more on the channel. At least one should be popping up on screen right now. Maybe click that one. But also consider joining the people that I just mentioned, the YouTube members or patrons, to support us. That would be hella cool of you. But for now, that's all that we had for this week. See ya next week with another chapter of There Is No Anti-Memetics Division. And if you're not into that, then the week after that will be yet another SCP reading. What a rambly outro. That's usually how things go here. I should get like a little sticker or something to have on this thing, right? I'll get on that. Cool. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.